No!
If you're watching this, then the zombie apocalypse has probably happened. And it happened because, oh wait, okay. And it happened because somebody decided to take a shortcut while cleaning their phone. Yeah, it was that bad. Okay, let's go. Okay. You see those up there? That's it. That's what caused it. Somebody used that to clean their phone. Don't do it. Hey, I'm Amy, and today on A Lolly Life, we are especially thankful for a subscriber that I have named Penny. So we want to thank Penny. She made a comment and had some suggestions for video ideas. This is what she said. I would love to see a video on how to clean your cell phone properly. I would also love to see a video on how shortcuts don't always pay off in the long run. I am loving your videos. Every time my little notification bell goes off saying that you've posted a new video, I get all excited and know it's going to be a great day. Thank you so much, Penny. Like, that is amazing. So, yeah, when I got that little note, I was all like doing my happy dance. Yes! Somebody liked my video. I'm okay. I know I got all worked up, and you're worried, aren't you? Are you worried? Yes. I was up doing a weird happy dance, wasn't I? But it's okay. It's okay. So there were 3 guys, and they were all applying for the same job. And the job was to transport some very important goods to the other side of a mountain, over this mountain pass. And it was like a really steep and winding mountain pass. And there were places where like there was this like sheer drop off on the side. And so just very precarious and just very, you know, it would take a skilled driver to get from here to there over this mountain pass. And so, and the cargo was very, very important. And the lady who was hiring these, you know, who was hiring this driver, needed a driver, she was talking to these 3 guys that were applying for this job. And their names were, we'll make something up, Steve and Harvey and Stanley. And Steve said, I can drive so well that I can drive with the wheel of my tire like right to the very edge of the drop off, and I can still make it there safe. And Harvey said, yeah, well, I can drive so well that I can drive with half of my tire going off the edge, and I can still make it there safe. And the lady that was hiring them, she looks over at Stanley and she's like, what about you, sir? And Stanley looks at her and he's like, well, golly gee willikers, ma'am. I drive so safe that I stay as far away from the edge of that cliff as possible. And guess who got the job? Yeah, it was Stanley. While cleaning your cell phone the wrong way probably won't cause the zombie apocalypse, it might cause problems with your phone. There is a right way to clean and disinfect a cell phone. And so there's actually rules out there. If you like go to like iPhone's website and things like that, then they have instructions on how to clean your cell phone properly. Yet when I went on YouTube and I was looking up videos on how to clean your cell phone properly, I realized that there were an awful lot of people out there cleaning their cell phone and they weren't following the directions. They were doing some really weird things. And so like this one lady, she took like pump hand soap and she just like pumped a big old hunkin' blob of hand soap on her phone, and she's all like smearing it around and just like doing this to disinfect her phone. Like, no joke, that's what she did. And she's like doing this YouTube video telling other people this is how you should clean and disinfect your phone. I don't know about you, but it seems reasonable to me that if a company spent the time to put out directions on how to clean your cell phone and that wasn't it, that maybe you should reconsider before you go listening to somebody else's advice on, on cleaning your cell phone a different way. There's so many things not to clean your cell phone with that they only mentioned a very few of them. They're like, do not use this, and do not use spray cleaners, do not use Windex, do not use little scrubby pads. So some of these things like that they mentioned, but there are so many ways not to clean your cell phone that they don't even mention all of them. And one of them that they didn't mention, because I'm pretty sure it was like so far like out there that they're like, why would somebody do that? Yeah, was squirting a big old squirt of hand soap on your phone and like wiping it around to clean your cell phone. Yeah, that's probably not the best idea. We see people doing these things and we think, well, if they're doing that and they do it all the time, maybe it is okay. Before we go taking somebody's ability to do something the wrong way as like proof that it is it's okay, we should probably find out the whys as to why the rules were there in the first place. You need to think about why they would recommend doing something a certain way, and maybe do a little bit of research and find out, what is it? What is the, what was their thought process behind this? Why would they ask you to do it this way? Sometimes this means being, looking at something from somebody else's point of view, which I know can be difficult. If you haven't done that, or you aren't willing to do that, you should probably just follow the directions. Because you very well may end up being the person who proves why those directions were there in the first place. And you might lead somebody else to follow your bad example. Yeah, not good. Before you could really find a real shortcut or break a rule that, those kinds of things, you need to find out the whys. If there is a rule saying don't use spray cleaner on your cell phone, why would they do that? Why would there be that rule? I just, think about it. Why would there be that rule? Is it possibly because if you spray cleaner into a phone, it might go into the little holes and cause problems and on the little speaker parts or something? If that's the only reason why they decided, that we shouldn't use spray cleaners or something, or, Windex or something on your phone, if that's the only reason, then maybe if you're really careful, you could still use Windex. But guess what? That's not the only reason. One of the reasons that they tell us not to use those Windex or something like that is because the phones have this oceophobic, they have this film on them. They coat the phone with something, and I think it's called oceophobic, but that's probably not. It's probably Frankensteinophobic. But they have this coating on the phones that help them not have as many smudge marks, and like it helps prevent smudge marks and fingerprints on the phone. And those kinds of cleaners can wear that down over time so that your phone actually gets dirtier faster. And while I'm talking specifically about cell phones, this idea of figuring out the whys before you decide you need to break the rules really applies to a lot of different things. You need to figure out what the ramifications are. And I really love that word, ramifications. But this is kind of like just a fancy word for consequences, or what's gonna happen because of this. Now maybe the ramifications are positive and there's, and are good. That is a possibility. Not every ramification is a negative thing. Sometimes they're positive. However, generally speaking, we don't bother pointing out that. We only have to point out those like consequences or ramifications of a situation when we did something that was kind of dumb, because we didn't bother to figure it out beforehand. And here's the truth about cleaning cell phones. Now, I don't know about you, but cell phones are kind of expensive. I don't want to afford, even if I could, I don't want to afford replacing it. That just sounds painful to me. And so I'm gonna do what I can to take care of my cell phone. Someone doing something the wrong way or not following the directions is not proof that it's a good idea. This kind of goes back to that story that I was telling you at the beginning. You see that person who is driving their truck with half of the wheel hanging over the edge of the cliff. You don't have to follow them. You don't have to do it that way. You actually are okay to say, nah, it's all good. I'm gonna do it this way. I need to decide for myself exactly what rules I'm willing to follow and what rules I'm not willing to follow. How I'm willing to, where do I stand on these rules? Because this is what they tell you specifically as far as cleaning your cell phone. You should use a wipe with 70% ice of blah, 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 I can't pronounce that word, alcohol. Or you can use a Clorox or Lysol wipe. Those are the two things that they recommend. Okay, no, actually there are 3 things. But as far as like wet things-ish, those are the 2 things they recommend. The 3rd thing that they recommend is a soft microfiber cloth. And so if you look at this, if you look at this cell phone, it's got fingerprints on it and it's just kind of pretty dirty. And so not only is it visibly dirty, but there's probably some germs on it as well. And so we're going to clean it the way that they recommend with one of these. You should turn your phone off before you clean it. And you definitely should not clean your phone while it is plugged in or charging. What they recommend is wiping it off. And if your wipe is very wet, they actually mention that, and they say, if your wipe is too wet, that you should maybe wring it out, or just be very careful that, if it's kind of drippy or something that's too wet. And anyway, so you wipe it off, and you get all the spots, and you're trying to be careful with any spots that have openings. And then they tell you to leave it dry, because as you'll see, there are some like water droplets on it, but they say just leave it on a cloth to dry for about, and I think they have a specific time, but I think it's like 4 or 5 minutes. But truthfully, dry is dry. Like, you can figure that out. You can look at it and say, oh yes, that's 100% dry, or no, I think that needs another moment. And then you take your soft cloth and you wipe down your phone. And you wipe off any like little tiny water spots that might have been left from wiping it down with alcohol or whatever. One of the things that they tell you to not do with your cell phone is you shouldn't use a paper towel to wipe it off. And you should probably not use the inside of your shirt to wipe it off either. Yeah, I'm real. Occasionally. That's what I do. If I walked around with these in my pocket or little alcohol wipe pads in my pocket all the time, I would probably, do that. Or even just a microfiber cloth in my pocket all the time. But guess what? I just don't. Sometimes I don't even have pockets. And so I don't walk around with those kinds of things in my pocket all the time. And I have decided that for myself personally, one of the risks that I am willing to take is occasionally I wipe my smudges off my cell phone with the back of my shirt, and I just wipe it off. It's not recommended, but it is something that I personally do with my cell phone, and it is breaking the rules. But I also understand what the rules are and why they're there. And I understand what wiping off my cell phone, wiping the smudges off my cell phone with the back of my shirt means. It means that I'm wiping, that I'm wearing down that layer on the phone faster. It means that there's a possibility that I could put little tiny scratches that you can't even really see, but like eventually affect how well the screen works or you can see on it. However, I don't use Windex. I most certainly do not use a scrubby pad on my phone. I am not going to be like squirting hand soap or hand sanitizer on the phone and like wiping it around to get rid of the germs. Like, I'm just not gonna do that because I realize that the risk of that is just way too great, even if I see somebody else doing that. Because I am going to choose for myself what I think is the best option for myself personally. And that's not the best option for me because I don't want my cell phone to break. Chances are just too high doing those things. And hopefully cleaning your cell phone the wrong way will not cause the zombie apocalypse to happen, but you never know. It might. So be careful. Because if you clean your cell phone the wrong way and it causes a zombie apocalypse, we're gonna have problems, all of us. Okay, that was just like really weird. Why am I so weird? I don't even know. Okay, see you next time.